Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 30 years.
Hi, I'm Cherry Johnson with Watauga County Arts Council. As you know, we have galleries at the Jones House Community Center, and we have 3 different galleries that we keep very busy, and one of those is the Open Door Gallery upstairs. Now, the Open Door Gallery has a mission. Its mission is to showcase the work of new and emerging and student artists. And boy, is it ever fulfilling its mission right now. I have with me Joe Bigley. Joe is an adjunct professor in the art department at Appalachian State University, and he's also a sculptor in his own right. Mm-hmm. And you have a bunch of students that you've been working with, and also some alumni, I understand, mm-hmm. who have put together an exhibit with, I think we named the show Joe Bigley and His Casting Students. Would that be a fairly accurate name?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think the students have been calling it casting call because all the work is cast elements of various metals specifically, mm-hmm. and there's some clay work, some slip cast porcelain, cups and that sort of thing as well. And there's a nice spread of mixed media work and a range of scale from smaller work to a fairly large piece.
Made of what kind of materials?
Well, in the casting class, we're focusing on, at least up to this point in the semester, both cast aluminum and bronze. Mm-hmm. And so there's a fair amount of works in those materials in the show, mm-hmm. as well as some cast iron pieces and then the cast porcelain ceramics.
Right. And one piece is sort of an installation. It's got a big door and a chair and mm-hmm. things that relate to the topic of the piece, you know.
Yeah, that student found some objects that kind of fit the aesthetic of the casting mm-hmm. and incorporated mm-hmm. it, so it's more of an arrangement of objects instead of just a standalone piece.
That's cool. Now, you and I are speaking a language that you and I both know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I bet you that a lot of folks out there aren't quite sure what we're referring to. Mm-hmm. So let's start at the beginning. What is casting? And it's not a theater term
right.
in this particular situation.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the short of it, I guess, is filling a space with a material that solidifies and takes the shape of that space.
So a really easy model of that is like plaster.
Right. So if you, or Jell-O maybe.
Oh, it's even easier, yeah.
So if you fill a bowl with Jell-O and then it hardens and you take it out, it maintains the shape of the interior of the bowl. Right. So in this class, a common mold we use is resin bonded sand, and you take wax is a pretty typical material, mm-hmm. and what the term is, you ram it in sand, and then you put it in a kiln, and it melts the wax out, leaving a negative space, mm-hmm. to which then you fill with the material of your choice. Okay, and you start your students out with what kind of material? Well, with the price of bronze, we usually start with aluminum, and then we move our way to iron because you have to use a different furnace and it's a little more elaborate of a process. And having, as a student many years ago, participated in casting, I know it's a very dangerous process. Well, it's kind of a controlled chaos, I think. Yeah. It takes a lot of coordination, and one of the nice things about it, I think, is that it's very communal, so you get a real kind of bond of people who participate in the process. Work together mm-hmm. and help each other out. Yeah, mm-hmm. exactly. Yeah, it's really hard to do it by yourself. I would imagine, mm-hmm. yeah. Dangerous to do it alone because you're working with hot metal, mm-hmm. and so that's a big deal. Yeah. And also, my recollection is when the piece comes out, it isn't perfect yet. Yeah, after you pour it, you're about halfway there. You have to clean it up and treat the surface and make sure all of the smaller details are in order. Clean off all the burrs and do all of that business. Mm-hmm. And what's known as chasing. Yeah, so then you get a final finished product, mm-hmm. you know. Yeah. Now there were a few pieces I noticed that the students had maybe mixed media a little bit. Sure. Yeah, I think one of the nice things about sculpture nowadays is the wide range of possibilities of mm-hmm. incorporating found objects or industrial materials or what have you. So yeah, there's a few pieces that have some mixed media elements. That's another, you mentioned wide ranges too. There's a wide range of styles in this Certainly. Show. Yeah, there's some more formal pieces that reference geometric forms to maybe some social commentary work, and then some more figurative work. So there's a pretty nice range of work in the show, I think.
Now, when you're teaching a class in this, and you've got, all these are art majors, or else art alumni.
Right.
And so you've got all these art majors, and this is a new process for them, so I know a large part of what you're teaching is process.
Yeah.
But where does the design part come into that?
Well, I think because casting is a very involved, tedious process, we do focus on, or I focus on allowing the students to become acclimated with the process. So really, there's an encouragement of a size range for them to work with to make it manageable in order to get to know the process. And then once they feel comfortable with that, then we get a little bit more into what the work is trying to say, which I guess could involve more of the design.
Right.
But working with wax and melting it out, you can really achieve whatever you can come up with. So I think the show reflects that kind of range of possibilities.
But it is kind of a learning curve, because just logistically, especially for a beginner, pouring a more complex shape is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
So
Certainly.
you want to, for the beginning phases, you want to be rather monolithic and keep it rather simple, you know. And then I'm sure that was part of your instruction process at the beginning, was don't get this thing so complicated you can't do it.
Yeah, I think you know, there's a healthy ambition, I think, that students come in with, and you have to kind of domesticate that a little bit so they can really get what they want out of it.
Very well said.
Yeah.
So yes, students do, and that's the cool thing about students, is that they have this imagination that just goes forever, you know.
Yeah, it's endlessly rewarding to be around that kind of creative energy in the classroom.
Yeah, just learning to tame it down just a little bit to where it's manageable.
Yeah, and then let them loose and see what happens.
Well, I tell you, the day that you guys installed the show, I wrote on Facebook, I said, this place is crazy, because it was mass chaos going on, because we had, your whole class was trying to crowd into that fairly small room to set up an exhibit, and then we also had shows going in downstairs, and we had students doing other things other places, and it was, the Jones house was hopping, let's just put it like that. And I thought it was really, though, a neat energy that we had all of that going on, as you said, kind of a controlled chaos, you know.
Yeah.
Because it was wonderful to feel that kind of alive feeling in the building, and to know that all these people were working so hard to make it special for the community.
Well, I think that's one of the nice things about the Jones house in general, is that constant creative energy that's going through there, whether it's the music or the visual arts. So I'm really appreciative that we were able to participate in that.
That's great. Now, you were mentioning to me before we started taping this that there are some events coming up, and I don't know if you're aware that sometimes, he said the pouring activity is a communal activity, and it kind of stretches even beyond that. So tell us about some of these things that are coming up.
Yeah, well, as part of the casting class this semester, I'm building a smaller furnace that runs off of reclaimed vegetable oil from the fryers on campus. And I've been collecting aluminum foil, which we will be melting down as a way to visually quantify a year's consumption of foil on campus, and then pouring that into a mold to create a sculpture to donate to dining services. So as a way to reflect the renewable energy sensibility on campus, as part of the Earth Day celebration on April 24th, we'll be pouring aluminum on Sanford Mall in the middle of campus with this veggie oil furnace, weather permitting. If not, it'll take place at Way Hall, the art building. And just as a way to expose people to renewable energy and the creative process, and it's a really seductive process, and it's not something you see every day. So that'll be offered. And then a couple of days after that, the following Friday, in conjunction with the Eklund Art Center and the Western Youth Network, will be conducting another pour with the same furnace to raise money for both of those organizations. So people will be able to come by and purchase a little tile mold and carve your own design into it, and we'll fill that with aluminum, and you can take something home with you.
Oh.
So that'll be the way to raise money for those organizations. And
that's really a cool idea.
yeah. And in addition to that, on April 14th, which I believe is a Saturday, the art department at ASU and the Student Art League will be conducting an iron pour out behind the art building, which people will have the opportunity to buy those same molds. And an iron pour is even more exciting because there's flames and it's a lot hotter than melting bronze.
That's why it's outside.
Yeah, exactly. So the month of April will have a lot of exciting sculptural processes out in the public.
That is so cool. You know, I don't think many people in the community have seen this kind of action, you know, seen things like this happening.
Well, because of safety concerns, it's typically done indoors or on the industrial scale, which is not typically open to the public. So
well, and like the outside area at Way Hall is fenced in.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you really don't know what's going on back there, but there really is an area that's set aside for that purpose. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, part of our intention at the art department is to offer up creative events to the community. So we're hoping to start the spring off with a few of them.
Well, I love the idea of inviting first the public in to see this actually happening, and then the sustainable energy, a whole thing about reconstituting the vegetable oil and the aluminum foil and all of that, you know, is really, really neat. But then also to then turn all of that into something that's making money for a wonderful organization in our community is just, I'm just very impressed. I think this is really cool.
Well, you know, I think any way we can give back is a valuable way to spend our time, and hopefully it'll expose people to the process and encourage more creative activity.
It just goes to show that the arts are not just a pretty part of our community, but they're an integral part of our community. They find ways into every part of our community and make it better in whatever ways they possibly can. You and your class are doing some great stuff, and I'm excited about it. Now, where can people find out if they forgot what day, what time, whatever, they want more information? How can they do that?
Well, there's a Facebook page for the Student Art League at ASU that will be posting reminders for the iron pour, and the Eklund Art Center will have information on their website about the fundraiser pour to happen at the end of April.
Right.
And then there's the Sustainability in the Arts Council on ASU, whose website, which I'm sorry I don't remember the specific addresses, will have information about the Earth Day celebration, which will happen from about 4 p.m. to 6, both in the Student Union and out on the mall where the pour will take place.
That'll be great. Okay, so if you can get that information to the Arts Council too, you can add us to the list of places that you can find that information, and we'll make sure that we make it available to people too. So
great. Well, thank you.
So wonderful. Well, I hope that you will go and learn something about casting and the work and all the cool stuff that can happen with that. It's a whole new experience. It's very different from painting or other things that you might do in the community. So it's kind of a neat opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's worth taking a look.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joe, for sharing your work,
thank you.
sharing your
appreciate
students with us, and sharing all this wonderful information.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, I appreciate it.
We look forward to seeing all of this.
Well, thanks.
Check out our website, watauga-arts.org, for information about this and a whole lot more.
Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 30 years.